It's Rose and I'm back, and I want to talk credit cards with you guys. I get a lot of different questions from people about credit cards they have, how to use them, what to do. So make sure you stay to the end because I'm going to give you the top 3 credit cards that I recommend you get that are going to give you high limits, great points, great rewards. You want to travel for free? I'm going to give you those at the end, so make sure you stay tuned. Let me know what's your dream credit card also in the comments below. So boom, let's start from the beginning. So you've applied for a credit card, you're looking to get one. When you're starting out with getting a credit card, minimally you need to at least have a 600 credit score. Let's start there. No charge-off account. So a charge-off is technically something you were financed on and didn't pay the money back. So if you have any of those on your credit, it's automatically a red flag to credit card companies that, hey, they like to owe other people money and not pay them back. So we want to make sure that we have at least a 600 credit score and we don't have any charge-offs. Very minimum inquiries. I would say at least 4 or less. Anything over that kind of looks like you're desperate for credit. So 600 credit score, no charge-off, minimal inquiries. That is going to be your basis for you to get any credit card approval. Now, as far as you getting a higher limit, normally the higher your credit score, 650 or higher, you'll get a higher limit. But the second way, let's say you're right at a 600, but you don't have, that higher credit score. If you apply for a credit card with a bank that you're already banking with, that's you building that relationship with them. So let's say you have Capital One. You've been with Capital One for 2 years. You keep money flowing in the account. That's where your direct deposit goes. You're not going into the negative on a regular basis, so on and so forth. You're with Navy Federal. You're with Bank of America. Because you have that relationship with them, even though you may only have a 600 credit score, the longer you've had an account with them, the more money you have flowing in that account as far as direct deposit or however your money is coming in, the better chances you have of getting approved for a higher limit credit card with them. So when you apply, you do your application. Minimally, I would say at least you make $50,000. Most of the time, they don't actually verify the income, so it's okay for you to put a little bit more than what you actually make. On the part where it asks about rent, I would suggest you put $0 because that is something that is deducted out of the total amount that you say that you actually make. So you do your application, you get approved for a credit card. Let's say you get approved starting out for $1,000. Oh man, I was really shooting for 5,000 or 10,000. No worries. You get that credit card. Any credit card that you have, every 90 days, you can ask for a credit limit increase. That is a rule across the board for any company. So what you're going to do is, if you didn't initially get the credit card limit you wanted, you're going to ask for a credit limit increase every 90 days. And you're going to ask for the most you can. If you're trying to get 10, put 10,000. If they up you to 5, great. But every 90 days, you're going to ask for a credit limit increase. Also, depending on what credit card company you're applying with, after 90 days, you can also apply for a new credit card with them in general. If your account, has better lookings, you're paying your credit card on time, not maxing it out, you may be able to get a higher limit the second time around when you apply for the second card. But in general, let me be clear. I do not suggest anybody have more than 3 credit cards. I've been doing this for a long time. And when life happens, when you get sick, you might lose your job, you might have to have some time off, might have an emergency, whatever the case may be. The first thing I see that goes with people as far as them getting late payments, having account closing, are the credit cards. So I wouldn't suggest you have more than 3. Don't take on too much credit that you can't bear if you're in a tight squeeze. That is the number 1 suggestion I would give to anyone. And if for any reason you're going through some things, baby, call the credit card company and let them know. They have a lot of options to where you can either get a payment plan, make a minimal payment of a certain amount. They might have some type of program for if you're going through some things. But I would strongly suggest that you call them and try to see what you can work out with making a small payment, even if it's just $25 versus just taking that late payment. Because late payments is going to hit you every time. 20 points, 40 points, sometimes even 60 points. So I would strongly suggest that you make sure that you keep up with your credit cards. You want to keep up with anything that is reporting on your credit on a monthly basis, because that is the biggest thing that can actually affect you when it comes to your credit score dropping drastically because of different reasons as they're associated with your credit card. So, next thing is next. Now you have the credit card, you have a good limit on it, whatever the case may be. Now it is time for you to understand and know how you need to pay your credit card bill. This is an essential thing. If you max that card out and your statement updates every 30 days. If that card is maxed out, when your statement updates, your credit score is going to drop dramatically, and you're going to wonder why. Oh my God, why is my credit score so low? Do not max out your credit cards if you can. If you do have to max out your credit cards, just understand and know, once you pay that balance back down, your credit score will go back up. But the rule of thumb is, if your due date is the 10th, your credit card limit is $1,000. You always want to minimally be at 30%. 30% is the maximum amount you can use on that credit card as far as paying the bill. So if you have a credit limit of $1,000, when your credit card bill is due, you want to make sure that you have that paid down to $300 or less. The less is the better, but if you at least get it to $300, it is not going to drastically affect your credit score. If you don't pay that credit card bill down to the $300, you're going to see a drop in your credit. That's not a big deal, because all you need to do is, continue to pay it down. So again, your credit card bill is due on the 10th. You use $500. So now you have to pay a $200 payment so that it will be back down to $300. Your statement ends on the 15th. Between the 10th and the 15th, you don't necessarily want to use your credit card, because you don't want any new transactions to hike up what your balance is before that statement ends. Especially if you paid it exactly down to that 30% usage. I strongly suggest, 20 or less, 10%, but hey, if you can only get it to that 30, cool. But you don't want to use it between the 10th and the 15th, because you don't want those new transactions to possibly make you go over 30% utilization. Now again, let's say this month you had an emergency, you needed to use that credit card. Next month you're going to start, making payments on it to bring it down each time you get paid, so that you get it down to that 30% utilization. The main thing for you to know is that no matter what happens in life, credit card debt is the easiest, not the easiest, but it's one of the easier things that you can fix with your credit, because you just need to pay your balances down. Don't max it out too much to where you put yourself in a bind, and then it's a high interest rate on it and you don't know how you're going to pay it. I would strongly suggest not overusing anything you don't already have, because a lot of people end up getting themselves in credit card debt. But that is basically how you apply for your credit card. Ask for a credit limit increase every 90 days, apply for a new credit card so you can get a higher limit, and then how to actually pay the bill, because paying the bill does affect your credit. You want to make sure you pay it on time. You also want to make sure you always have it at that 30% utilization or less. If you guys have any other questions for me, please drop them in the comments now. Now, I did say I was going to give y'all the top 3 credit cards that I strongly suggest that you apply for, because they're going to give you great limits, good approvals. Number 1, I always recommend that you apply with Navy Federal. If you have a decent credit score and you have that money flowing in the account, they give out really good credit limits. If you need to know how to get a free Navy Federal account without having to be a member of, Navy, Army, all that kind of great stuff, check out the description below and comment below. Let me know. I'll give you all the information there so that you can get a free Navy Federal account. Just comment below. Let me know. So Navy Federal is number 1. Number 2, I would suggest Capital One. They are a great credit card company, especially for people who are just starting out or looking to rebuild their credit. Capital One is really good. And then the third bank that I would suggest is another credit union. It's called PCECU. You can basically Google it and look it up. They're just another credit union that gives you really great credit limits starting out the gate, if you have a decent credit score. Also, I'll just throw in there, Bank of America is really good too if you already bank with them, whether it's on the business or the personal side. They give really good limits when you have that money flowing in the account. I know, especially for myself on a business credit card side, The first one I got a $5,000 limit, but then when I applied like 90 days later, I got a $29,000 limit. So they're really cool on the business credit side as well. If you guys have any more questions for me on credit cards, make sure you comment below, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you again for hanging with me here at Rose Credit Repair. And don't forget, like, subscribe, comment below if you have any credit questions. I'm going to be answering them myself in the comments. So you know what to do. Until next time.